Greetings, beautiful soul family. Hope you're doing well. I just wanted to share a message from our guides about the massive energies that are coming through to planet Earth in the month of January 2020. As we all know that 2020 is the year of great massive change in all aspects of our society on the global scale as well as in our individual lives. And on January 12th, we entered this cosmic planetary alignment of Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, which went conjunct. So, what does that mean and how does that affect us? So, this alignment will cause some of the most powerful energies we've ever experienced on this planet. And this is going to shake everything up in our status quo. Everything that was not in truth in alignment is going to start coming up into our forefront, into our vision. 2020 is all about vision. And the energies of these alignment are basically involving Saturn, which is the lord of karma, and Pluto, which is the planet of transformation. And these have gone conjunct in the constellation of Capricorn, which is known for discipline and karma, reaping what you sow. So reaping what we sow is going to be a major theme for many of us. Those of us who've really put in the work with diligence and hard work are going to start seeing the benefits of all the efforts that we've put in. And we're going to start being prepared for more responsibility. And we're going to start getting momentum and energies in all the projects that we've been unfolding. And we're also going to see what wasn't working, what wasn't in our highest timeline, and what we need to change or let go. And on the other hand, there are people who've been resisting change. And unfortunately, this is not going to be an easy year for those who are resisting change, because the universe has a way to clear the path, whether it's with our willingness or without it. So if you're still complaining, if you're still resisting, if you're still ignoring the messages that are coming up in your life, then the universe will have to make some changes in your life, whether you like it or not. So this is not a time for complacency. This is not a time for laziness or lethargy. This is a time to stand up and start speaking our truth. We have to start examining every aspect of our life, and we have to really go deep and question what's working in my life and what's not. And we have to set firm boundaries for ourselves. We have to start by loving ourselves more, and loving ourselves really means adding more excitement and joy in our life. So this is a year we're really being asked to examine which aspects of our life are not in joy, are not in excitement, and to bring positive change and love into those aspects. We must love everything. So a lot of people are asking what's happening with the planetary changes. There's a lot of fear that's being projected in the mainstream media, especially around planetary events like the fires in Australia, the fires in the Amazon, the massive earthquakes and floods taking place right now around the world. These are all parts of the change that needs to take place for Earth on a planetary level, because Earth recalibrates itself through these natural events that need to clear the energy of the old, that need to clear the path for a new framework of the fifth dimensional consciousness to be anchored within our planet. So the way this works is that when there's great planetary change, when there are fires and earthquakes and things are falling apart, there are people with a dark agenda who use that against us. So they start injecting the news 24/7 and show us all the horrible destruction that's taking place as a result of these changes. And this is carefully being designed and implemented to keep the masses in fear. You see, as long as we're in fear, we're not able to ascend. So there's an agenda being played out in the mainstream media that is constantly bombarding us with fear-based news. And it is of the utmost important that we understand what's happening behind the scenes and why this is being done. We have to stop subscribing to the theme of fear that's being presented to us, and we have to start going within our hearts, and we have to start resonating with sources of information that really speak to us, that resonate with our hearts. So there's many other sources of information other than the mainstream media. If you go to YouTube and you look for underground news channels, I'm not saying not all underground news channels are have our best interests in mind, but some do. So this is where we start to examine what feels good to us and resonate with channels of news that make us feel that there's some truth in there. And it's highly recommended that we disconnect from mainstream media and anything that is causing deception and fear in our consciousness, because that separates us and keeps us small. So what's really happening with the fires in Australia? Yes, a lot of death and destruction occurred, and our heart goes out to every single family, every single person, animal, and plant kingdom that went through this intense period of suffering. But on a higher level, on a spiritual level, there was also a cleansing taking place in the sacred lands of Australia. As we know, Australia is home to Ayers Rock, also known as Uluru, and that is the solar plexus. It is the umbilical cord that connects Earth to the galactic center, to our sun, and through our sun to the galactic center. So there's a cleansing taking place in the solar plexus of our planet, and consequently, many light workers and empaths, many people who are tuning into this message, you will have noticed that over the last few days, from January 10th onwards, as these intense energies of clearing came into our planet, we started feeling this in our solar plexus, and it caused a lot of emotions to stir up, a lot of old feelings, and a lot of people we had already cut off from our life and parted ways with. Just past timelines and past stories were coming up to be cleansed. So it was like a life review. So this is just a mirror reflection of what's taking place around the planet. When the planet's umbilical cord, when the planet's solar plexus is being cleansed, so too is humanity's solar plexus. So we all felt it here in our feeling center. We all felt it. And the main message that's coming through for light workers right now in regards to the pain that's being felt is that we can feel the pain but don't attach to it. You see, we are feeling the pain of humanity right now as we go through these great changes, and many of us are going through such a difficult period of darkness. We feel isolated, we feel alone, and we feel that there's nobody that we can voice our opinions to. There's nobody who understands us. We can no longer share our truth with our family and friend who are still in an unconscious, unawakened state. So there's all this fear being played out in the media. There's isolation being felt by light workers around the world, and we are feeling the pain of humanity. So it is of utmost importance that we do whatever we need to do to keep ourselves sheltered from the fear and not attached to the stories. We can let the feelings of pain run through our bodies, and we can release them back to the earth for transmutation. You see, World War III is another theme that was being played in our mainstream news recently, and many people are falling into panic as if we're going to go through another world war. But that is also another technique used by the people in power to keep us in fear. There's no world war taking place because that is the only tool the dark ones have to keep us locked into this frequency of fear. So let go of all this fear. We've already ascended as a planet. We've already reached the tipping point in our consciousness. And as humanity, we've made our choice very clear. We no longer want war. You see, war can only be created on this planet if humanity allows it. But we have spoken up as a collective. We're beginning to awaken in mass proportions. And if you ask anybody, do you want war? Nobody wants war. We all want peace. We're all sick and tired of war. And we're ready to enter this new golden age of peace where there's infinite prosperity and abundance and equality. And we're unified as a collective. So another theme that's playing out right now is that a lot of people are getting sick, and a lot of people are feeling the intensity of these energies in our physical bodies. So the message that is coming from our guides right now is that it is of utmost importance that we keep our bodies in physical shape, in the best physical shape possible, because the intensity of the energies that are coming through right now are going to require that we are in the best shape that we can possibly be. So if you've been putting off your diet regimen or your exercise program, you need to get right on it. And it's not all about physical fitness. What diet and exercise and physical fitness does is also unlocks the dormant strands of our DNA. You see, when energy comes from the great central sun, it runs through the earth, and it runs through our column of light. And this energy is going to pass through our bodies, and it's going to activate you to the extent that you are physically capable of receiving this energy. Your body's like an energetic antenna. So if your vessel is not clean, if your vessel is full of junk food, if it's dehydrated, if it's fatigued and stressed, then there's going to be energetically, you're just hosting many dark spots in your body, and the light cannot touch the parts of your body which are dense and still carbon based, 3D based. Your body has to be light, and to make our bodies lighter to be able to receive these higher frequencies, we have to start detoxing. We have to start cleansing. We have to drink lots of water every day. We have to take all of our vitamins and minerals, and we have to receive all the raw nutrition. We have to eat all the fruits and vegetables in their raw, natural forms. And that's what really cleanses our bodies and brings us back into our natural state where we are able to receive these higher energies. And this is also a year where many light workers are going to start feeling like they're being thrown into the depths of darkness. So many of us are experiencing or going to experience a life challenge this year. And it's going to really feel like it's shattering us, it's breaking us wide open. And we have to know the real message from our guides behind this is that we have to know why this is taking place. You see, this shattering has to take place for us to open up, for us to be completely destroyed. It's our old self dying and being reborn as our higher self. So if you're going through a life challenge, if you're battling debilitating disease, or if you're going through a relationship transition or a life transition, then know that you're in the right place. This is not a punishment. This is not karma. This is the energy of being reborn. So every single one of us, there's no light worker who is exempt from this. I've gone through my own dark night of the soul, and each one of us has to go through the dark night of the soul in order to be born anew. So don't fear these changes, don't resist them. allow them, because the more we resist, it's going to come back anyway. The universe is going to mm, pave the road, whether it's us driving behind the driver's seat and going along with these changes, or whether it is us resisting the changes and being bulldozed over by life. So the clear message for us is right now to stop resisting change, stop resisting what's coming, because we may not want to let go of the old ways that we're familiar with and what's comfortable for us, but we must. We no longer have a choice. The old world is history. It's no longer. And the new earth is being rebuilt through each and every one of us. And it is through us cleansing our life of what's not serving us is how we're going to rebuild new earth. It's not going to be a team of engineers that builds a new city and says, here's new earth, you can move in. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be through each and every one of us. It's going to require painstaking sacrifice, painstaking courage, and for us it's going to require a lot of letting go of what's not working in our life and questioning everything and creating more joy and excitement in our life. That is the key. That's how we ascend. Now, another message that's been coming through for Lightworkers is that this is a time for us to start speaking our truth. This is the time for us to start sharing authentically and voice our opinions. This is not a time for sitting on the fence and just observing the events of the world unfold. This ascension process requires the participation of each and every one of us. And each of us, every one of us, is an equally valid piece of the puzzle. Without your participation, the picture is incomplete. So we need you to stand up and decide what you're passionate about, decide what your beliefs are, decide what your likes and dislikes are, and start sharing that. There are many internet forums where Lightworkers have discussions, and I've noticed that many of us just are too shy to even comment because of the fear of being ridiculed. So we need to let go of this fear of being ridiculed. And there's also this fear that's in the deepest recesses of our consciousness, that if we share our truth, then we are going to be targeted. And this is a fear that comes up from our ancient past lives as witches, as shamans, when we were burnt at the stake. And we all carry these painful memories because in the medieval times, when we used to practice our spirituality, when we used to practice our rituals, the forces of darkness that used to control the planet labeled us as witches. They labeled us as witch doctors, and they brought us out into the street and they made public hangings and they burnt us alive as punishment, calling us agents of the dark. So we have this fear resonating within the deep recesses of our consciousness, and we need to get past this fear. That time is over. This time, this won't be allowed because there's so many of us. There's literally 4.5 billion Lightworkers incarnated on this planet right now. So if we all are arising together, we cannot be stopped. When we unite, there's no force on this planet or this universe that can stop us. And another question that many people are asking is, how can I contribute? I don't have anything to contribute. So let me put you at ease by letting you know that all you have to do is be your most authentic self. And that is going to that's going to inspire many people. See, when we muster up the courage to voice our opinions and voice our truth, then we are inspiring so many that we are not even aware of. So just by for example, let's say you believe strongly um, in a topic and you share that topic on social media, you're creating a change. You may not know how much of a change you're creating, but you're creating a massive change because you're adding your voice. And when all of us collectively keep adding our voice to topics that we firmly believe in, that we wish to bring forward into the new earth that we're creating, we add our momentum to the great snowball. And this snowball keeps getting bigger and bigger as more light workers join the discussion. So we need each and every one of you listening to this message to step up and have the courage to be who you came here to be. This is also an important reminder for light workers to connect in online forums and groups and start joining world prayers and meditations, because the world needs our prayers. And when light workers are united towards a single cause, there's no force on this planet that can stop us. So, for example, there were fires in Australia and many leaders took the initiative to organize world prayers and meditations to ask for rain and create positive changes to stop the fire. And it actually worked. I saw it before my very eyes. So the old story is that we are weak and that our thoughts and our words don't have any effect or power. But that's far from the truth. You see, our words and our thoughts and our intentions, our prayers are the most powerful force that we have. And when we are walking our divine path, when we are in full integrity, when we are completely in our divinity, then our thoughts and words carry even more power. So start joining these call for prayers, call for uniting our intentions, and that's going to create a snowball effect that's exponential. That's going to create changes on Earth like no tomorrow. And also recognize the power of the words that we speak in our everyday lives. We can change our behavioral patterns simply by changing the way we phrase things. Most of us are so used to speaking in a negative and cynical manner, and you may not realize it, but your words are creating magic spells. Your words are constantly creating spells that are either binding you or freeing you. So be very conscious of your words. For example, sometimes when we're fighting with our partner, we may say something silly like, "I'd rather live on the streets homeless rather than live with you." But you see, you're cursing yourself by saying that. So bring awareness to what you're actually saying, because these words are being monitored by the universe 24/7. The universe is just going to keep reflecting back to you the results of your words, and it's going to show you that's the reality that you're asking for, so that's the reality we're giving you. So wouldn't you rather say something that suits you better? Like, "I'd rather live in the lap of luxury than be with you." It's okay to be angry, it's okay to vent ourselves when we're angry, but say it in a positive way. You see, you're no longer creating a magic spell that curses you. You're now creating a positive spell. If you don't want to be with someone, that's perfectly fine, but at least don't curse yourself. And also another reminder that is coming out is to create very firm boundaries for ourselves right now, and only allow the most uplifting people who uplift you, only allow those people in your life. There are many people who are constantly taking, their energy vampires, and these people have a behavioral pattern that they tend to always ask for what they need, but when it comes time to reciprocate or when you have a real need and you ask them for a favor, they turn the other way, and they're going to be missing in action when you need them. So if you have the tendency, and many light workers and empaths have this tendency to overgive and constantly forgive those who are treating you in a bad way, then this is no longer the time to support that. We need to be very conscious of our boundaries and what we allow, what kind of energies we allow into our lives. So only allow, only align with projects and people that somehow uplift you. There has to be an equal exchange. And we need to distance ourselves from people, unfortunately, who are takers, because that's going to just drain us. And when we're allowing all these psychic vampires, these energy vampires into our life, energetically we're allowing our energy to be siphoned off. So energetically, when I look at someone who's constantly giving, it's like there's cords coming out of their aura, and each of these cords are leading, they're like straws that these vampires are sipping your energy out of. So if you're feeling drained, that's one of the reasons you're feeling drained constantly, because you're over giving. There has to be an equal exchange, whether it's your husband, whether it's your children, whether it's your mother, your father, your grandparents. It does not matter. It does not matter. There's no, the same rules apply to everyone. There has to be mutual respect. There has to be an equal exchange of giving and taking. You cannot be constantly draining yourself and burdening shoulder the burdens of others. That's simply not going to work any longer. So in conclusion, the main message that's coming up for light workers right now is to disconnect from media, disconnect from mainstream sources of media where there's this agenda of fear being played out. Get out of our comfort zone. Start voicing our opinions, start voicing our truth, start standing for things you believe in, and no longer sitting on the fence. We have to pick a cause. We have to pick what we believe in and drive forward. We're no longer sheep. We're no longer followers. So we need to push ourselves beyond our comfort zones. And our guides are also reminding us that in order to unlock our intuitive abilities, we need to start dabbling in creative projects like arts and music and painting, something that pushes you beyond your comfort zone. So if you've never painted before, now would be a perfect time to start. And if you've never made music before, maybe you want to take a piano lesson. So what happens is that when we express ourselves creatively, we start unlocking neural pathways in our brain, and the left hemisphere of the brain connects with the right hemisphere. The intuitive and the logical both start working cohesively, and these neural patterns are the key to unlocking our full potentials. And from there, our higher selves start merging with us. Our wisdom comes online, our guidance comes online, and this is how we really are able to amplify our intuitive abilities, our psychic abilities, and really bring our gifts forward, because it is of utmost importance. Each and every one of you is needed right now to be the best version that you can be, to be the highest version that you can be, to be in the best physical shape that you can possibly be, and create joy and excitement. Pursue your dreams. This is the year where there's a momentum for creating and pursuing our passions and things that we're projects that we've been envisioning for the past few years. This is the year to roll it out. So I love you guys, and until next time, take care.